Well, they told me not to shut the car off because it wouldn't restart, but no worries. I'm here at Tech Garage and Brian's here, so I'm gonna give it a go. So let's cut it off, see if we got some restart. Oh, we don't have anything, nothing. No dash lights, no sirens, no anything. That's not good. Well, welcome to Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com. Got a 2017 Taurus. That's right, I said a 2017. Brian, runs great. Shut it off, nothing. I'm suspecting a battery.
You know, it could be how slowly you drive. It's really a good candidate. 4 years old. That's clearly been replaced before.
Yeah.
And the clue I heard was you got it here, meaning the alternator took over once you got it running. So that leads me to we got to do a voltage check here on the battery.
That's the first thing you always do. It's called OCV, open circuit voltage. Just going right across the battery to the positive and the negative. It'll just give you an idea of the battery. This one here is everything's conked out.
Over 12 volts. It's not bad. We're at 1.3, 1.4 volts, buddy.
Exactly. Yeah, that thing is definitely shorted internally. There's no saving that one.
No.
Why does that happen? Well, I got a pretty cool exercise for you. I know you're a mathematician. You're into all this mitigation stuff.
Got my
you got
notepad.
your whiteboard, man. Stay with me here. I'm going to go quick, all right?
All right.
So we got a regular car with an alternator. You're driving down the road, bam, your ignition's drawn about 6 amps,
Okay.
right? Turn the headlights on. If it's some old headlights, maybe 15 amps.
Okay.
I'm just giving you some estimates. Go down. I got the wipers on. It starts raining, and there's another 6.
Okay.
Well, because it's raining, I got the windows up, so I turned my high blower on. There's 20.
All right.
Rear defogger starting to fog up. You're right in the passenger seat, steaming everything up. So that's another 25. Got my infotainment system drawn about 4. Then I come to a stop. After that stop, guess what? I'm sitting there waiting. The coolant fan comes on. There's 30 amps right there. And then I hit the brakes. Because I'm stopped, there's another 6 amps, man.
You spend a lot of time on the brakes.
I do. Calculate that, mathematician.
Buddy, that is 112 amps right
Wow.
there.
Think about that. Not to mention the electronic steering, the suspension system, the brakes,
Oh,
all
we're
the
just getting
autonomous
started.
driving. We could tack on another 30 amps to that, man. We're at
Easy.
$140, $150. Even with the high output alternator at idle, we're putting out about 90 amps. It's not cutting it.
No, and this is a Police Interceptor package, so that's as heavy of an alternator as it gets coming to us from Ford. So low idle, low RPM, police cruisers do a lot of that. Tremendous amount of heat out here. I think we're a candidate for a new RockAuto.com AGM. Let me start getting this guy out.
Yeah, well, before you do that, it's really important. I need to put that saver in there because this is huge, man. This right here, this is actually a battery saver that keeps the information in the car. Today more than ever. I know Tech Garage, you've all seen a battery replaced. You know, even next segment, we're going to talk about why it's so important to have that draw. We talked about in show 1 that DLC. We're going to plug this in. We're talking about feeding things like adaptive learn. This car actually learns your driving habits. So I know because it's shifting like an old man's driving.
Slow,
yeah, I got to get in it, bam, and kick it.
Yeah.
Well, what about the throttle learn? What about the accelerator pedal position sensor? All that stuff's adaptive learn more than ever. It's critical. I'm going to hook this up, get a demo set up. Got some tips on that battery,
Awesome.
don't you?
I do have some tips on this. And what he just said, that is the perhaps the most important tool nowadays when you're swapping out a battery. Use the memory saver. You will thank us later. So very simple. Before I just take this battery mounting strap off, 2 10mm nuts here, easy to work on. You want to do a visual inspection here. Again, little clue to me is this Optima AGM battery was not factory from Ford. So there's already been an issue. So I'm looking for anything in the battery mounting tray. It's tight. All those bolts are tight. There's no corrosion down there. The battery mounting strap seems to be good. It's not moving anywhere. So it could just be an amp replacement, replenishment issue. So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy out, get started. Very, very simple to do. You know how to do this. I'm going to head back to the RockAuto.com shelf, grab an AGM battery, and we'll be back with more Tech Garage presented by RockAuto.com in just a minute.
Well, boy, Brian made short work of that. The battery's out of our cruiser. There's a big hole there. Well, why is that? Well, it's over on the bench. We're ready to talk batteries and understand batteries. Welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com. Now, what is a battery and what does it do? Well, we'll get into that in a minute, Brian, but it was interesting. You did that OCV, open circuit voltage, on the cop car over there.
Yep.
Had barely nothing. That was embarrassing. Well, we got one from Rock Auto right here, fully charged. Not the one for the cruiser, just another demo, but I want to show you the difference. If you look at that, 12.86. That's good. And what's really weird, though, check out this chart right here. And I'd had people write in and said, man, that's not true. Oh, it's absolutely true. Look at 12.86 volts is fully charged. 11.89 is 0% charged. You got no amps.
That's not going to do you any good at all. And you think about cold cranking amps, super important on a police cruiser, in fact on every car. Regular cranking amps, reserve capacity, all those things matter. but voltage is nothing without the amps behind it.
Boy, you need that more than ever. In today's cars, we talk about that, and that's what Tech Garage is all about. We're about this autonomous driving. We're about all the sensors, right? Well, we get a lot of cars here at Tech Garage. They come in with an ABS, anti-lock braking system light on. We go scan that, and all it is a simple low voltage. The system's so smart, it shuts it down because it doesn't want you to think you have the safety and security of ABS when the battery can't handle the load.
Back in the old days, you know, when your headlights were starting to get yellow and dim, you could let it go, ride it out, make a calculated decision, I'll wait another month or two. Nowadays, what that means, if you're smart enough to be watching those headlights, go ahead and be proactive and get the right voltage in that system. All the other dependencies are waiting for the balance in the electrical system.
Sensors, oxygen sensors, millivolts, right? We're talking about the computer command control. Computers get really stupid when we start dropping some voltage. It could be phantom codes. It could be all kinds of things. Listen, it really starts here at the battery, man.
It really does.
And you know, there's different types or configurations of the battery. What you got over there?
Absolutely. Well, you've got modern day AGM batteries, which are awesome. More about that in just a second. But what really matters is your top post, side post configuration. There's no extra wire, there's no extra cabling under the hood these days, so you got to have the right post connection to get everything in there properly, get the battery clamped down. Now, the AGM, the absorbed glass mat technology, is incredibly powerful when you think about off-road, rough conditions, a lot of heat transfer. When you look at the old school lead plates and how this whole thing fails, look at this, buddy.
Yeah, well, think about it. There's an electrolyte, which is made up of sulfuric acid and water. And the old school, how a battery works, well, it's a chemical reaction. It goes from the gray lead to the sponge lead, and it blows through there and it makes a charge. Well, before the AGM technology, that stuff would wear out and start flaking.
Absolutely. You talk about vibration, why does that matter? If it's loose in its mount, if you're driving off-road, doing hard condition driving, there it is. There's the degradation. Amps are not going to flow through that type of resistance.
No, and you said to secure that battery because that stuff piles up in the bottom, and once it starts touching this, just like our battery, it's shorted.
Yep.
Well, before you run with ours, though, hey, I need your help. I want
right.
to talk about a little bit of voltage drops right here in the cable, some things you can do right at the house. I got a voltmeter, I got it set up to volts. So he's going to the center of the battery terminal and the terminal itself. This is cool because it's voltage drop. Got a biggest draw right here on a car called a starter. So if I crank this up, watch the meter, and when it cranks over, you can see we're dropping a little bit of voltage. That's checking for resistance. So if you had crud or corrosion right there, man, I may drop 1 volt there. Think about the implications on all those computer systems we just talked about.
Oh, yeah. Again, voltage isn't transferring, and you got to have it. The electrical output of this guy is the ultimate enabler for all that other magic technology we talk about and love on a daily basis.
Well, you got some work to do, but I got a couple other tests I'll show you. You want to get that installed? So there's a couple other ones you can do. One is called a leakage test, and you can do this also in the driveway. You can put one on the positive or the negative terminal. It doesn't make any difference. And then you're going to take the other lead and you're going to go around. You're checking for any voltage that the actual electrolyte's causing. If it's leaking, it'll show a voltage. Now, we go back to that first chart, you see that the specific gravity or the weight of that electrolyte is directly related to voltage, so that's cool. So you can go get one of these hydrometers here and dip it in if you had a maintenance battery, suck it up in there and look and see the actual weight, the specific gravity of the electrolyte in there. Or if you're real fancy, you can use one of these refractometers right here. Put your little drop right there, bam, look in it, and you can see it right here on the graphic. We took a picture of it. It'll show you the specific gravity of the electrolyte, which directly relates to voltage. Once again, we don't want to lose any voltage. Now, you can get these tools. We got them all at rockauto.com. Go in there, clean your connections, make sure you got a good connection all the way down to your starter, your battery, all your grounds. Brian always talks about those PCM, ECM grounds. This stuff is critical today. It's not so much about the battery, it's about having that correct power, and that's what you want to have. So hopefully we helped you there.